Welcome, Tyler. Thanks for joining me this afternoon.
My pleasure.
It's been an interesting weekend, the Colorado game. We've had some reactions from the Phoenix fans, a little bit from the Colorado fans on both sides, people saying that Phoenix may not have deserved a win. Maybe there should have been a draw instead of a win. What do you think? What do you think about what people are saying?
All right. Let's make one thing very, very clear here. If anybody in the Phoenix camp is upset with a win on the road in a place like Colorado Springs, you don't deserve to be a fan. You don't. Because I'll tell you this right now. Go look at some of the results that Orange County has had this year. A loss at home to RGV. Okay, they've had some bad results, and that is the reason why Phoenix is in control of their own destiny, and Orange County is not. If Orange County wins out and Phoenix wins out, guess who's number one in the Western Conference? So there's no reason to be upset with a 2-1 win, albeit it wasn't pretty, but you're playing in altitude. The ref was not reffing the game that he was watching and the rest of us were watching, and It's one of the toughest places to play in terms of the surface. I mean, you saw it. It's more. I would rather play on Cashman in Vegas than play in Colorado Springs, just because at least it's a somewhat level surface. There should be no concern. There should be no disappointment. The fact that you didn't get a few more goals, the fact that we didn't get a clean sheet. Colorado was always going to put some form of performance together because they were fighting for their playoff lives. We eliminated them from playoff contention, got 3 points on the road, and now we're headed back after a pretty solid road trip. So anybody who's upset with that is not okay in my book. But everybody needs to calm down. We're headed back home to the complex. It's 3 points with a miserable referee. Everything is okay, I promise.
All right, we will get to Mr. Willis in a second, but I got to agree with you. I mean, I think what people are looking at is that Colorado pressed the last 20 to 30 minutes of the game. That's what teams do when they're desperate. And what we did is we defended. And we defended well. Now, we did get very lucky. There was that one header that it was a miracle that it didn't go on the goal. Okay, granted, but that's a part of footy too. The bottom line is we held defensively. They did not score. We took the win. How many times have we seen where a team gets desperate for whatever reason and all they do is push offense? You're going to defend. You're not going to try to counter with a strong offense in that situation. You're just going to try and keep the ball out of the net, and that's what we did. I like us seeing our defense with a couple of exceptions. We did have a couple of lapses, as we tend to do. But otherwise, we held our own, and that's especially with the altitude. I'll take it every single time. I had no issues.
Joe Farrell had his best game of the season. He was all over the place. Every single defensive header was his. He scored a goal. Mike DeFont stepping in after not getting a lot of playing time as of late. They were excellent defensively. There were a couple of miscues, which is going to happen. But listen, everybody misses chances at every level. You look at the Premier League, when we see sitters missed all the time. Solomon missed a sitter in the first half that he sent soaring, above the net and everything. So, yeah, you could look at it that Colorado Springs should have scored, but maybe Phoenix should have had 3 goals or 4 goals in the first half as opposed to just 2. So, the game played out the way that it should have. Colorado Springs maybe should have gotten a point, but they didn't because they just had a terrible defensive blunder with Kavan's goal, which ended up being Phoenix's second. I mean, JJ Tombe was having a margarita with a bunch of the fans who were celebrating Margaritaville Day at Widener Field. And, meanwhile, Kavan Lambert steps in and goes and scores the other way. So I really don't want to hear any of that like Phoenix should have cause for concern. You had 3 games on the road and 3 really difficult places to play. Phoenix maybe should have gotten a point in the San Antonio game. You get 6 points against S2 and Colorado Springs on the road. Done. Let's go back home. Let's take care of St. Louis and Reno.
Something interesting, and this was very subtle, but did you notice that Rick Schantz is having our midfielders play further up the field? What was Kevin Lambert doing up there in the first place? Now, in the natural flow of soccer, that can happen, but I went back and I rewound, and really what I was seeing is a more aggressive offensive push. I think that Schantz is having the midfielders play, at least comparatively speaking to the rest of the season, it looks that way, and it seems to have paid off in spades. Are you seeing that also?
So specifically in the Colorado Springs game, and I don't know if you remember, but Devin and I were talking about it because it happened when Phoenix was at home against Colorado Springs, is that Rick and company were really hoping that because Josh Suggs is one of the best outside backs in the league, I don't care what anybody says, loves to get forward. And they went to like a sort of a 3-back system where Suggs wasn't even playing an outside back at that point. He was just pushed all the way up the field. So there was minimal space for Phoenix outside backs to get forward. So then what Rick, I guess, counteracted with, and we'll have a conversation with us about this tomorrow, is that, okay, if you're going to put pressure on us on the outsides, you're leaving yourself exposed in the middle of the field. We're going to push Kavan up. And something that Patrice said to us really interestingly when he was still coach at the beginning of the year is that Kavan isn't a 6. He's probably more of an 8 or 10. He loves to create going forward. While he's great at putting in challenges, he's probably more suited as an 8 or as a 10. So, seeing him in that role and seeing him get forward is great. And having somebody like Chris Cortez playing the number 9 and being able to not only challenge headers when they're coming from Waz, but to win them and to then cushion them down for attacking players like Kavan is priceless. So it showed, and we were picking them apart, once we were able to, once Phoenix was able to figure out what was going on the outside, which was similar to what happened when we were back at home, then everything opened up and, it was happy days.
It's interesting that you say that because I am very bullish with Coach Shantz. Not only is he a nice guy, but I keep seeing glimmers of what he can do with this team. And I really think I would be perfectly happy if he became our permanent head coach. Now, others say he doesn't have enough experience and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, he's got 20 years of experience. He's proving that he can do something with his team. He's mixing in his special sauce with the team, and he's being successful with it. Why wouldn't we keep him in the head coach position? It makes no sense to me. In worst case scenario, somebody like David Moyes is brought in, which I'm very anti with the national team, and screws everything up. So I have been very happy, and I'm very bullish with Rick at the helm for the team. We'll see what happens. There are lots of other things going on in the front office, we know, and Peter Ramage is sitting in our offices at this point in time, so no idea what's going to happen there. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Willis. Because I'm sorry?
Josh Willens.
Willens, that's it. Sorry. The tall, pale ghost of, I can't get personal. We'll just leave it at that. He is not my favorite guy on the field. He had some calls that were, shall we say, questionable. I think when Asante went down, the guy was behind him. He came in. He hits Asante. To me, that was a clear yellow card. Of course, it was funny because Solomon wanted everyone to know it was a clear yellow card, and didn't get the card. You had some interesting words. We thought multiple times. I thought multiple times. So you want to go ahead and set the record straight on that?
I would really love to set the record straight, and I wish Devin was in this podcast because he was the one that was having more of the words for the official. I threw in one subtle jab, and that was it. Devin was ripping this guy apart, and rightfully so. And I think if Josh went back and looked at the game, he would probably say that it's not his best game. And just like sometimes I'll look back at a broadcast and say I didn't have my best game. Everybody's human. It's a profession. People are going to make mistakes. A few of the mistakes that he made could have easily cost Phoenix goals, and if that had been the case, there would have been a riot, and rightfully so. But I don't want to harp too much on the referee. It was mostly Devin who had the things to say, and as he should. He's the analyst. He gets paid to be opinionated. I get paid to speak from a matter of fact. And all that I said was that he's probably not making a good case for him to rep a playoff game in the USL, which is probably true.
And for the record, you had an entire room in my house laugh out loud when you said that. It was enormous and awesome.
I need to harp on referees because I've reffed games before too, and it's nobody wants to do that job except for the crazy refs who are out there and do that for a living, and God bless them. But it was not a good day to be Josh Willens on that particular night. I'm sure he'll bounce back. I'm sure he'll watch the tape and realize what he did wrong, but not a great night for him.
No, and everybody has an off night. And I don't like reaming on refs. I do think we have had some secluded cases, Willens involved with one or two of them, where we were put in very bad positions or lost games because of bad calls. But we have to produce, so we can't blame it on the refs. But the color that you guys added, especially because of the Phoenix-oriented audience, always makes for a very good time. Great soundbite.
I'm glad we could provide that on your birthday. You were getting impatient with us. You tweeted us. You didn't think we were going to give you the birthday shout-out. We wanted to make sure that it was 3 points that came with your birthday shout-out.
Yeah, which made sense. But yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, I wonder if they forgot. They're so busy with their jobs, they're just going to forget. And I was like, I want this for my birthday. I was like Veruca Salt. So, oh man. So let's talk real quick about the USL rebranding this week. What do you think?
It's great. I thought that the video was awesome. I think it did a great job of explaining it. It got me jacked up for the future of the USL, definitely. I wanted to go run through a brick wall after seeing the video. But no, it was, it's great. Like, it's bringing everything together under one umbrella. It's basically exactly what's going on over in England right now under the EFL. But at the end of the day, it is just a rebranding. Everybody knew that D3 was going to be a part of USL, and now that you're going to add the PDL into it, that it was something that I don't think a lot of people expected. And now it brings everything together. It's kumbaya. It's everything's in cahoots now. Like, it's great, but it is just a rebranding. And USL did their own frequently asked questions where they're asking themselves the question, and that they're the ones that are answering it. And one of the ones was, is promotion relegation now a part of this? And they said, we're focused on centralizing soccer in North America, and I think all that's great. And it does set up the possibility for promotion relegation down the line. I don't know when that's going to happen. You might have some of these owners in PDL or in USL D3 who don't want anything to do with that, because then it would cost more money. You might have to revamp your stadium. There are going to be certain stipulations for stadiums, for whatever it may be, if you are going to get promoted. And if you do have promotion relegation and there are teams who win the league but then don't want to move up, then it goes to the second place team. It's just a bad look. So I think people just need to take it for what it is right now. It's a rebranding. That's it. But everything's under one umbrella, and there is a strong possibility for promotion relegation down the line, possibly when I'm a grandfather. We'll see.
You'll be a grandfather. I'll be dead. So
at least one of us gets to see it.
Yeah, hopefully. I do like centralized branding. I'm going to leave it at that. It keeps it simple, keeps it clean. There's no more confusion. I am all for that. Plus, I like the logo. I thought they did a great job.
Yep.
Wasn't impressed with Miami like everybody else, but this one I really do like. So last of all, we've got a good game coming up against St. Louis this weekend. I don't think it is going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, but it could be worse. We could be going against OC right now, and they're smoking hot. How do you see things playing out this weekend?
It's going to be tough. I mean, you talk about another playoff type environment. The Colorado Springs game was very similar. A team that was fighting for their lives, sort of a one and done situation. Colorado had a couple more decent results. It easily could have been a 1-8-2-7 matchup, just like you're going to see with St. Louis. I mean, if the season were to end today, it would be Phoenix and St. Louis in the first round at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. So this is a great opportunity for Rick Shantz and the guys to be able to put together a performance at home. And listen, Orange County got a great result against the Monarchs. They're going up against Vegas tonight. I'll be on the call with Devin, for those of you guys who are going to tune in. And, it's going to be a really, really difficult game. Anthony Pulis, Devin and I have talked to him a couple of times this season. He is a fantastic coach. He used to play in the league. He's played with the likes of Corey Herzog before. He was just a down-to-earth players coach. He does an excellent job. They struggled at the beginning of the season, but with a new coach and a revamped roster, that was probably expected, right? So they've put together some really good results as of late. They beat Swope on the road. They had a really good result against San Antonio FC, and then you throw in a draw, and they're unbeaten in their last three, heading into the most important part of the season, and they're really enjoying themselves. They're having fun. It is going to be a very, very, very difficult game, and if there was a time for the Banditos and the Red Fury to really bring the noise, as if they haven't the entire season already, the time is now. I mean, this is going to be an electric game from a playing standpoint, and hopefully, the crowd follows suit, which they always do. I'm never worried about that, but it's going to be a tough one. They're very, very good, and they're in good form.
Yeah, we're going to be in the stands, and I won't be with the Red Fury or Banditos, but I'll be shouting from behind the bench like I usually do. I agree. I think also in the last three games of the season, we have by far the most difficult schedule of the top three teams right now. Real Salt Lake's going to be able to coast through. OC really, they play Reno, but that's it of anybody of any significance, I think.
Hold the thought. The Monarchs aren't coasting through anything right now. You would think that a game and close would be a coast, and they got coasted. Okay,
wasn't it coasting when you're going downhill?
Yeah, it's a steep decline. Okay, so let's pump the brakes there. There's no coasting through in this league anymore.
Do you see any reason why this is happening with Salt Lake?
I really don't. Defensively, they're a nightmare right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. Efrain Alvarez is incredible, and I think he's terrific. And I think it'd be a shame if U.S. Soccer let him go. He'll end up on the Mexican national team, I think, which just stinks. But those can score. Everybody knows that. But for the Monarchs to get drilled like that is really an embarrassment. And they have a great team. They're organized most of the time. As of late, obviously they haven't been, but I can't really put my thumb on it. You could say it's Sebastian Velasquez missing, but he played a decent amount of that game, and it just does not look good for them right now. But I mean, listen, they got the number 1 overall seed last year. They ran away with the Shield, and they lost to Sacramento. So maybe stumbling into the playoffs is exactly what they need, and they'll upset somebody in the first round or take care of business or what have you. So I would not write them off. They already clinched the spot. They're going to be in the postseason. And I just got off the phone with Brady Cloutier, and he brought up a really good point. There's a difference between the regular season and the postseason. It's two completely separate entities. There's the regular season. That's your body of work. That's what you're judged on for the most part. And then it's a bunch of one-offs in the playoffs. And that's why Swope Park got to where they were last year. Louisville City were obviously fantastic from start to finish. And that's why they won the cup. But you can get upset just as easily as you can roll through it. So it should be very interesting.
I agree. And I looked at, what FC Cincinnati's been doing, and they've just been squeaking by in their past couple of games. And they played, I think it was the number 11 team, the number 15 team.
TFC2 and Penn FC. Yep. They barely got TFC2. Endo scored a hat trick, and then Penn FC got started quickly, and then FC Cincinnati had to respond late. So
I'm just hoping they're hitting that cool down period. That would be perfect for us. We'll see. Like you said, when the playoffs start, it's a whole different world.
Let's worry about St. Louis, and then we'll move forward.
Yeah, true enough. I always jump ahead. Anyways, I appreciate your time today. This has been great. Some wonderful insight. Looking forward. I'm going to watch the game tonight, so I'm looking forward to hearing you and Devin and some good commentary there. And then this game this Saturday is going to be interesting. It's not going to just be a given 3 points. So I'm sorry.
One last thing, just to the Phoenix fans, enjoy the ride. I mean, this has been such an unbelievable season. Didier's last game, JJ's about to be healthy. I tweeted it out the other day, but, I'm waking up every morning, and this has just been such a great season, even with Patrice leaving and Rick taking over. I mean, if you were to say that and said that Didier was going to miss this large chunk of the season and still have Chris Cortez vying for a Golden Boot, he's probably not going to win it at this point. Cameron Lancaster's been unbelievable. But to have everything that's gone on with this team from a coaching standpoint, the schedule sometimes hasn't been great to them. We're in a position where we control our own destiny. Enjoy the ride. It's going to be an electric atmosphere on Saturday. I know it. And, just buckle up for the rest of the season and enjoy every single second of it, because what you guys are doing out there is really incredible. You guys should really be proud of yourselves. And I know that, it's cliche that the fans make the game, but they really do. And you guys are truly a following in the USL. And there's not many teams that can say that. So keep doing what you're doing and just enjoy every single moment.
I agree with you. I think you saw on Twitter that one of our local newscasts did a whole story on how everybody sucks in the Valley, but Phoenix Rising and maybe the Coyotes. Maybe. Well, they're going to have to prove it. But either way, it's always fun talking with you. Thank you so much for your time, Tyler. I'm sure we'll be talking post St. Louis to see what happens there. And we're going to have one hell of a ride for the rest of this season and the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy the match tonight, and looking forward to the game on Saturday.
All right. Thanks, my friend.
All right.
Bye-bye.